The one thing you need to take away from this 10-minute episode is if you don't have a database, if you're not focused on that database, if you're not putting time, energy, and money in that database, you are missing out on so many deals.
From Reminder Media, this is Stay Paid, a sales and marketing podcast on a mission to help you close more deals and retain more business. Hosted by the VP of Marketing, Josh Stake, and Reminder Media's president, Luke Acree. So get ready to hear the golden nuggets that will allow you to live a life of freedom tomorrow, but only if you take action today.
Welcome to another short episode of Stay Paid.
Yes.
We're trying to do like these 10-minute episodes lately and kind of throwing them in on a Thursday or kind of mixing them up with our interviews. And we got some really great feedback on the first couple of them. People commenting on the YouTube videos, emailing into us saying how they love the short episodes. So we want to know what you all think.
What do you think? What do you think of the short episodes? Although it's very hard for Josh and I to keep things under 10 minutes.
I forgot to start the timer.
Well, today we're going to be talking about how to build an effective database within 10 minutes.
Yeah, no, if you're like many business owners, you're not necessarily regularly communicating or following up with your top clients. So when it comes to connecting with contacts, sometimes the reason is you don't have the information at your fingertips.
Yeah.
You haven't taken the time to build your database and built your database purposefully. So you might have a list of contacts with information in there. That's not what we're talking about today.
Yeah.
If you don't already have that, go listen to another podcast.
I would go as far as saying, look, Josh and I's business, the business that we run ourselves called Reminder Media, we worked with 38,000 small business owners last year. Our biggest pain point in getting people to use our products is not actually teaching them how to use the products or anything like that. It has to do with actually just getting a database of clients and prospects out of them. It's insane to me that your business, the value of it, is built on your database. But so little effort is put in on a daily basis into refining and building that database. So we're going to give you some tips and some ninja tips, some hacks, whatever you want to call them today.
Yeah.
Hopefully you will apply. But the one thing you need to take away from this 10-minute episode is if you don't have a database, if you're not focused on that database, if you're not putting time, energy, and money in that database, you are missing out on so many deals.
Well, let's start from scratch. Let's say that you don't have it yet. Who are you going to include in that database?
All right, so I'll give you kind of three areas that you should add to your database right away. One is your friends and family. Many people don't add their friends and family because they tend to think of their database as, I'm going to spend money on this, and I don't need to spend marketing on my friends and family. I don't want them to know me as the insurance guy or the real estate agent. It's the absolute wrong mindset. You got to get over that because your uncle doesn't know you as Luke, the real estate agent. He knows you as Luke, the nephew. So you got to add your friends and family to the list. It's a natural way to get referrals, a natural way to start out in any business, especially service-based sales. Second is you have a social routine. So this is where you got to think outside of the box. Do you go to the gym? Do you have a place of worship? Do you go to the same grocery store every day? Do you go to the same Starbucks every day? If you go to the same Starbucks, who's the barista? They're called baristas, right? Barista, see? I'm not even going to make an excuse. That was just me not being smart.
I don't know.
But the point being is these people you meet socially every single day should be in your list. You should start building relationships with them. Think even further outside of the box. Who delivers your mail? Who actually takes away your trash?
I think it's pronounced mail.
Okay. Well, Josh is making fun of my accent now, so no. But the point being is your social routine, the people you come into contact with over and over and over again, you should add them to your list. That's your sphere of influence. And then third, you want to put your clients on the list. Notice how I didn't really say past clients because I'm a firm believer that your clients are once a client, always a client. So you might segment them in your database as past clients and stuff like that, but you want to put all of your clients that you've ever done business with and all the people you want to do business with on your list.
Absolutely. Here's some other things beyond just the standard first name, last name, address, phone number that you want to make sure that you're including whenever you're building this list. Make sure that you're including important dates. So these could be birthdays, these could be anniversaries, these could be the last time that you spoke with them. These are things that you want to be able to use as a talk trigger, as a way to reach out to them and follow up with them for that special date. Preferred contact method, right? Make sure that you're tracking. Do they prefer to be called on the phone? Do they like to text message? Would they rather converse on social media? This will then let you endear yourself or build trust with that person because they know that you're actually paying attention to their preferred communication. Make sure, obviously, you're keeping notes about recent conversations. Make sure you have record of their social media accounts if you're connecting with them on social media. And then the biggest one that people miss is their interests, their hobbies, their likes. We put it under this idea of the Ford method.
The most important one
Yeah, but think about it. If you're in real estate, you're helping people purchase a home. You know if they have dogs because they have a big backyard, they needed a big backyard with a fence in it. You know if they like to entertain because they needed a big patio with a barbecue and a pool.
Yep.
You know these things about their interests and their life. So make sure that you're capturing that, because that's going to be what you can talk to them about beyond the business,
Right.
which will ultimately build the relationship because it's going to be important to them.
That's the way to connect personally, not just a marketing. You know,
Yes.
they expect you to solicit them with marketing information. They don't expect you to reach out and check in on how their dogs are doing.
Yeah, which
don't
brings us to
expect
the
that.
next one in terms of interest, but that's how to segment your database.
Yeah, so
right?
segmentation, like the value of your list will be in how well you can segment your list. Meaning, like when you think about your marketing, the more refined you can make your messaging, the better response ultimately you will probably get, because relevancy is what dictates people actually wanting to pay attention to that thing. If it's relevant to them, if it makes impact with them, they'll pay attention. Then ultimately you can get them to take action. So segmenting your list, there's two thoughts I have here. Most people segment their list based upon what they want to achieve out of their clients. We learned this from John Anderson. I can't remember what episode it was.
Yeah.
But he's a marketer at SEI, so a big financial firm. And he says most people think about segmenting their list based upon what they want to achieve out of that client. But he says you need to think about it a different way. What if you segmented your list based upon what your clients want to achieve? Why is that so important? It's so important because now you know how to reach them and what to send them and what's of value to them. And this whole concept of serve, not sell, this whole concept of if you give, then you can take, that's what's going to trigger people wanting to give back to you. It's going to be dictated about what someone else wants. So that would be a tip I would give you, is think about segmenting your list right now based upon what your clients want. What are they interested in? What do they want? What value do they want? And then from a segmentation standpoint, when you think about what you're after, you got to think about almost like the funnel. Where are these people in the funnel? Where are they in the buying process? And are they just at the interest phase? Are they actually looking for something, looking for a specific product? Are they ready to buy? Are they past the buying phase? Another tip I would give you when it comes to your database is not everybody in your database will buy from you, and it doesn't mean they shouldn't be in your database, because they could be an advocate for you. So you need to segment your list based upon the funnel of where they're at in the sales buying process, because that's going to dictate your communication as well.
No, I love that. So many people send the wrong marketing message to the wrong people because they don't understand or they don't have that segmentation in place, where if this was someone who was just, we would call it top of funnel, where they're just in this awareness phase, right? They just basically know about you, or they saw something on your website that they wanted, so they put in their email address for something free. Then you can move into the consideration phase, where they're actually looking at your product or the thing that you're selling. And then the bottom of the funnel ultimately would be this this decision phase.
Yeah,
right?
the purchasing phase, basically.
So then that brings us into our last point, which is you've got your database, you segmented your database. Now you have to actually use your database.
The more contacts, the better. I mean, you guys have heard of like the 33 touch program from the Millionaire Real Estate Agent. We had Eric Fang on today talking about you have to have 4 to 6 touches to build familiarity and increase your closing percentage upwards of 80+%. There's all this research out there that proves it. But the key here is that if you have a database, you need to be consistently connecting with them. You need to consistently connect. And we believe in omnipresence, which means what? It means you should connect with them digitally. You should connect with them social media. You should connect with them through the mail. You should connect with them face to face. You should connect with them at events. Like, there should be so many ways. You should connect with them on yard signs if you're in real estate. It's this omnipresence. Like, how many
Connect
times?
is the key word.
Yeah, how many times can I hit this database?
Yeah.
Because the more I can hit this database with relevant information, the more I build familiarity, which also breeds trust. And if you get into a trust situation with people, they think of you, they end up using you.
Well, you said it, relevant information is such a critical word in that sentence, because, we listen to like the Grant Cardones, like hit the list, because if you're not emailing them, if you're not hitting the list, they're never going to have the chance to buy from you.
What good's a list if you don't hit the list?
Right. But so we kind of fell into that trap of like, all right, we got to email more. Oh, wait. People aren't digging the information, or we're not sending the right information to the right people. Let's start providing value. So we just began writing completely new emails about topics that were going on currently, about providing things like this podcast or what we've learned from the podcast, videos that we've recorded that match that person's demographic or psychographic or whatever information we would have on them or have spoken to them about. And then the other way to look at it is we kind of always look at it as a dartboard, where you kind of work in rings, right? The outer ring are your contacts. These are people that you probably just have a name
Acquaintance, maybe?
and information with. Then you would have like the next ring in would be people you've had conversations with but haven't done business with. The next ring in would be these are your clients, your past clients, or your dream clients, right? And then the bullseye, these are your advocates. So you want to spend the most time with your advocates and then consider your communication plan and the value that you're actually delivering to each one of those rings as you kind of work your way out of that bullseye.
That bullseye will produce 80% of your business. If you do it correctly. And you'll see this Perry Marshall's interview that we did, and he wrote a whole book on this, the 80-20 rule and how it plays out in all of life, but it truly plays out in your database. 80% of your business is going to come from probably 20% of your database.
And then he says even that's fractal, meaning that within that 20% is another 80% driving 20%, and it 20% driving 80%. And it continues to go down and down and down until, I think the example was like, if you have, if you're making $1,000 and you have 100 clients, there's one of those clients will give you $500.
Yeah, it's
like
crazy.
one of your clients wants to give you half
of
your total.
It's raving fans.
It's a raving fan. So anyway, thank you so much for listening. I'm going to sneak in a knock joke here then, just see how many people made it. Knock, Luke.
Who's there?
Cal say
who?
No, Cal say moo, Luke. He was homeschooled.
That's the goal. That's the golden nugget there, ladies and gentlemen. Comment on the YouTube channel if you heard that knock joke. Tell me what Cal say.
Make sure to check out this podcast and the resources. We're going to throw up some free resources that we've put together for building a contact database into the blog post, the show notes of this podcast. So check that out at staypaidpodcast.com. And if you're looking for ways to support the show, which you know you are, you can head on over to iTunes, throw us a 5-star rating, leave a comment, let us know what you think of these shows, these shorter episodes, and then also make sure to tell a friend. Share this with somebody. Use this in your own content marketing. If you're talking to other business pros, you're talking to other people that have databases of contacts, share this with them and just say, hey, I heard this on Stay Paid, thought it might help out your business as well. If you want to get a hold of me or Luke, you can email us at podcast@remindermedia.com. You can also find us on Instagram and now on Facebook. We are at Stay Paid Podcast. On both of those, we're trying to grow our Facebook channel to like 10,000 followers.
Yes,
so let's
help
get on
us
over
do
there
it.
and grow that. You want to say, one day you're going to say, I was one of the first to like Stay Paid Podcast on Facebook, and you can have that forever. For this episode of Stay Paid, I'm Joshua Stike.
Guys, and I'm Luke Acree. And here's your action item. Obviously, you got to build a database. All of you know that. That's what this episode's about. But I think one of the key points here is who are your advocates? Who's the bullseye? Like the most important thing you can put in your database is those advocates. Those are the people you got to take care of. All these principles apply, but they apply the most to the advocates because the advocates are the ones who actually drive your business. So you should then, after this podcast episode, sit down and go, do I know who the advocates are in my database? And if you don't, you need to find those people. And then you need to ask yourself, how am I actually staying in touch with these people consistently? Remember this, the difference between a top producer and a mediocre producer is top producers take action. So take action on that today.